You know, pro wrestling is just a wild, untamed animal. You know, when AEW was launched in 2019, I was excited. You had an incredible start. You had Cody Rhodes, you had Chris Jericho, you had the Bucks, Kenny Omega, and you also look at the women's division. They had Rio, Nyla Rose, and you had Britt Baker. Britt Baker has been the talk of wrestling in, you could say, the last 7 months. Where is she? Has she retired? Is she injured? And this is where we are going to discuss this. So if you are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. I very, very much appreciated. Let's talk about the good doctor, shall we? Dr. Britt Baker. Last time we saw Britt Baker on television was on Dynamite in 2024. She wrestled a match against Penelope Ford, which she won, to be confronted by Serena Deeb, of all people. And you can hear Britt Baker say to the camera, "Nobody cares. Nobody cares." Can you explain to me where Britt Baker's telling lies? Now, there was talk by Bodyslam.net that earlier this year that Britt Baker was seeking to get out of her contract earlier than she should be. Baker signed a 5-year deal that will take her contract to the back end of this year. So 2026, she signed a new 5-year deal. This is when AEW was good, by the way. AEW was good around that time frame. Now, as I said, Britt Baker did not make one single appearance last year. She did recently have an interview with Adam's Apple podcast. This is discussing the silence in regards of her of her return to wrestling. She said, in regards of her status, says, "I'm feeling great." And as Apple said, "Good enough to get back into wrestling?" She said, "Yeah, maybe." She was asked, "Is she retired?" And she said, "I would not say I'm retired, no. I just love the fans are talking about me, so keep the chatter up because I love it, and stay tuned." She was also asked, is she still doing her dentist stuff? Baker said, "Not full-time anymore. As much as I love the wrestling fans, they're a little passionate sometimes for their own good, and for my own safety, it got a little carried away sometimes, with some scary wrestling fans coming to kill me because I'm a bad guy." End quote. You just know that pro wrestling fans can be fucking weird. How many times has CM Punk had to put statuses out on Instagram? How many times has Kevin Owens done the same? How many times have you seen Rhea Ripley get harassed in airports? Rhea Ripley had some letters sent to her house by some weird wrestling fans. I'm not being disrespectful, but the IWC are fucking nerds. Absolute fucking geeks. So the absolute retarded fans out there have made Britt Baker stop being a dentist full time as she was traveling to Dynamite. I believe the dentist was closed every Wednesday, so she can go and travel to Dynamite. Or on maybe Rampage as well. I don't know. I didn't give a shit about Rampage. Rampage was a waste of time, apart from one episode, and that was the first ever episode of Rampage in 2021. Then Sean Ross Sapp was asked on his Q&A yesterday. Sapp addressed Britt Baker's ongoing absence from AEW television and revealed that a deal could potentially stretch longer than the fans expected. Sapp said, and I quote, "She's under contract for a number of months, and then AEW could add time to her deal, which normally I wouldn't think that they would, but now it seems like absolutely something that they would do. I mean, she's missed a long term due to physical ailments and issues, which is out of her control. So she should be under contract until 2027, maybe even that. I don't know, but I've not heard of her being brought up." End quote. Listen, if you can't present Britt Baker in a meaningful way, you're in the wrong fucking business. Britt Baker, I don't know what's going on in her personal life. I mean, we don't know what's happened with Adam Cole. Let's not go there. We do not know what's happened with Adam Cole. And I don't want no one to get involved in that about her and Adam Cole. Now, about the illness that she had, and I mean, she was off television for about 11 months before she returned at Forbidden Door in 2024 and had that god-awful match with Mercedes Moné at All In, which I was at, by the way. And I'm not going to lie to you folks. People were going for piss breaks, merch buying, and going to get some beer during that match because the match was terrible. And I mean, I don't think Britt Baker's a bad wrestler. She's not Bret the Hitman Hart. But I think Britt's a talent. She's had some great matches in AEW. She had that incredible feud with Thunder Rosa. She's a multiple-time women's champion. Tony Khan needs to stop being petty. How incredibly convenient this is that when this whole article started with Bodyslam.net, it was the week before the Evolution pay-per-view. And Raw just came off an episode in Pittsburgh, where Britsburg, that's where it's from, by the way, what Britt Baker tends to call Pittsburgh. She calls it Britsburg. Look, Tony, you are paying talent to sit at home and do absolutely nothing. You've got talent. You've only just brought Private Party out of Khantanamo Bay. I ain't seen them two since 2024 myself. And Private Party, I think, they're an excellent tag team. I like Private Party. I was happy that they won the tag titles until they got buried by the Syndicate a couple of years ago. AEW should have a women's division that is deep. AEW have got some great talent. They have Tony Storm. You've got the rise of Marina Shafir. Marina Shafir, and I kid you not, Marina Shafir has been an MVP in the last 7 months, I'd say. AEW also brought in Mina. Mina's buried. She's fucked. You brought in Tekla, who's just won the AEW Women's title. I ain't got a problem with that. I like Tekla. Chris Statlander, got Julia Hart, Sky Blue. You've got numerous. Willow Nightingale. I adore Willow, and I adore Holly Cameron. You look at some of the women that's now on the sidelines. Saraya only just got out, by the way. Well, Saraya got out last year, thankfully. Do you not think Blake Monroe, a.k.a. Mariah May, knew this was coming? Now, I'm going to get to Mariah May in a second because this is another topic that was actually brought up on an interview with the Not Sam podcast, and I am going to get that up now for you. I will get that up now for you. I'm going to go through what Miss Monroe said. If you haven't got space in AEW for Britt Baker, I do not know what you're doing. Deonna Purrazzo came out recently, and she is one of my favorite women's wrestlers. I adore her in TNA. Deonna Purrazzo recently came out and said it's frustrating that she's not defended the Ring of Honor television title or whatever, pure title, whatever the fuck. I hate Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is fucking awful. Ring of Honor is up there with SmackDown and Collision as the worst wrestling shows on television. Tony Khan, just let Britt Baker go. You've got Anna Jay that's in Khantanamo Bay. You've got Camille. I don't know what the fuck's going on with Camille. We have not seen Camille since November. The same time as Britt Baker. Anna Jay's been off television, I think, since November. Tay Mello, Tay Conti, or whatever the fuck her name is. Sammy Guevara's wife. Tay Conti, that's it. She's been off television since December. What are we doing here? It's incredible that they recently want to Now, time on. They did this with Ray Phoenix. Ray Phoenix amazingly got out of Khantanamo Bay. You got Danhausen that's now in Khantanamo Bay, and there's a possibility that Danhausen could show up this Saturday at the Elimination Chamber. Do I think it's a bit underwhelming? Yes, I do think it's underwhelming. But Britt Baker, when she gets out, I would not be surprised. The first phone call she'll have will be from Ariel Helwani and ask Britt Baker to go onto his show. I would not be surprised. And all the sickos are going to get triggered because Britt Baker, we know she doesn't give a shit. Britt Baker will speak her mind. And let me tell you now, it's going to be a tough day. Unless an NDA will have to be signed. So Britt Baker will have to keep her mouth shut. That's all I can say about Britt Baker. Tony Khan, just please let her go, bro. Just let her go. Let her go to NXT and go and have a banger feud with whoever. Blake Monroe, Mariah May. Blake Monroe, who signed with WWE in 2025, she debuted on NXT within days of being removed from the AEW roster page on the website. Blake turned heel after sister began as a babyface with Jordan Grace. But this is what the funniest thing is. Blake Monroe recently sat with Sam Roberts on the Not Sam Wrestling show. Oh man, this is where it's going to be fun. Let me get to the part of NXT. She mentioned in regards of NXT. Aha, here we go. Blake Monroe said, and I quote, "One of the biggest reasons I wanted to come to WWE was because the women's division is so deep." Now, if you look at NXT's women's division right now, you look at JC Jane, the women's champion right now. I don't want no slander because JC's doing the best work of her career right now. You got the rise of Kendall Gray. You got Jada Parker, Lola Vice, Kalani Jordan, Izzy Dame, Thea Hale's come back. You've also got talent that's on Evolve who are coming through. And that's where, by the way, I think Britt Baker will end up as well. They really put an emphasis on their women. So that was a really attractive point for me. But also NXT, I wanted to train more. I knew there were areas of my work that I wasn't happy with, and there were areas I'm naturally good at. Monroe also revealed she wanted to train more and improve her craft. End quote. Now, I think Blake Monroe did her best work so far for me in AEW. I was at All In 2024 with her match with Toni Storm. Unbelievable. Excellent wrestling match. For me, the greatest women's story for me in wrestling history, in my personal opinion. And they had the best women's match, I think, in the last decade since Sasha and Bayley at TakeOver Brooklyn. So I don't want people to say that I'm biased towards WWE or I shit on AEW. I goggle Triple H's balls. I want Tony Khan's head strung up. I'm not like that. I'm a fucking realist. If you've not seen some of my Monday Night Raw reviews when I shit on the show, I shit on SmackDown. SmackDown I can't stand. And Monday Night Raw, don't get me going, because Monday Night Raw sucks. So in a way, I think Blake was booked better in AEW so far. But she also pointed out that she is not in any rush of being called up to Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. In hindsight, she said as well, she hasn't even challenged for the NXT Women's Champion yet. Now, my prediction will be is I think JC Jane and Fallon Henley are both ready for call-ups Lainey Reed, I don't know. I don't think she's anywhere near ready yet for the main roster. If Jasmine Nix definitely wasn't, then Lainey Reed definitely is not. I think Kendall Gray will be the one to dethrone JC Jane at Stand and Deliver. And by the way, I'm looking forward to that show more than WrestleMania, if I'm telling you the truth, because last year's Stand and Deliver embarrassed WrestleMania. And then you have the feud ready. The underdog champion against the experienced challenger in Blake Monroe. Blake Monroe will want a women's title run before ending up going over, I would say maybe to Raw, because you think of her look and her gimmick, I think she'd suit Raw. If there's a draft going around, obviously you can have Blake Monroe going to Raw, and you could also have a couple of talent going to SmackDown. Because SmackDown needs fucking help. Come on. I mean, that's not fucking difficult, is it? Even if Britt Baker was let go by AEW, she'd be on SmackDown and have that feud with Charlotte Flair. So I don't know if all the sickos were all triggered about Blake Monroe saying that about AEW, but I don't give a shit. I will defend AEW at the fact and say that she had a better run so far in these 18 months she was there. She might be the smartest woman in wrestling. She only signed a 2-year deal with AEW, and then she went over to WWE. So yeah, I don't want all these retards all complaining, saying why Blake Monroe has not been called up yet. She's still young. She's 27 years of age. The sky's the limit. And by the way, when we get that match between her and Tiffany Stratton, which is obviously going to happen, people compared Mariah May at the time to Tiffany Stratton when Tiffany was getting called up from NXT. People were all saying, oh, she's a Teamer Tiffany. And now everyone's glazing her like a Krispy Kreme donut. So all these fans are all saying that Blake should be called up. Shut the fuck up. She wants to improve. The one thing that AEW does need, if they had a performance center like NXT does, those talent in that company, there would not be many errors that's leading to injuries. You saw a frightening injury nearly happen on Dynamite with Megan Bayne and Will Nightingale. I was fucking terrified. That landing by, I think it was on Megan Bayne. I was fucking terrified for Megan Bayne. So Tony Khan has got all the money in the world. Why don't you just open a performance center? And you've got some of the top coaches in the world. You've got people like Jerry Lynn there. You've got Chris Hero, Dean Malenko, whether he's still there or not. It's a long way to go, man. AEW needs a lot of help, man. And like I said, I'm not being biased. I want what's best for all companies. I want WWE's creative to get better. I want AEW's creative to be back to where it was during 2021 when we had maybe one of the best years ever of AEW pay-per-views. And Dynamite meant something. When one episode finished, you couldn't wait till the next one. So that's all I got today for you folks. I'm sorry that this video is later than I wanted to. Hit the like and subscribe button. Back to Black and Gold will restart from tomorrow because unfortunately I've had a bit of a hard schedule. There's been a lot of things going on in my life at the minute. And don't worry, I'm getting back on track. So I will see you for the next video. You may get a Monday Night Raw review if I drop that tomorrow for y'all. But back to Black and Gold will be returning. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.